Well, good evening, our beloveds. We shall do one of our more traditional readings tonight. We have focused much in the last week or so on the healing aspect for those who have trauma, and trauma can come from many different forms. So we shall not limit ourselves and who the audience is, though our another naturally has a story of domestic violence that will draw those people in because the vibration is somewhat similar as it relates to her, not as it relates to us. So here goes for tonight. We are truly enjoying working through our another. As she grows and develops her skill set and her sense of trust and her willingness to work through conflict and contrast, we can work more authentically through her. And what that means is that some of our more unique energies, whom we have not really shared up to now, because if we're honest, it is uncomfortable for her. She has not explored this area, nor is she even interested in it. But the Palladians have been communicating through her recently. The Hopi Collective has been channeling through her since almost the beginning of time, but we presented ourselves about 3.5 years ago. But the point is that we are stardust. We are all stardust in one form or another. Energy forms that are here to connect once again. And we are going to begin calling forth some of the specific energies, such as the Palladians and the Arcturians and she's having difficulty, as these are words that she is unfamiliar with, as she has not Googled it. There are the tall grays. There are the short grays. There are the reptilians, right? There are all these different energies, and you all have these visuals of what this means, but it's no different than saying there's a dog and a cat and an ant and a bumblebee and a lizard. They're all just different energy forms that present in a particular manner with a particular subset of experiences. Lizards are vastly different than dogs or cats. Birds can fly, but you wouldn't say that birds are evil, nor would you say that birds are holy. Birds are birds, right? You've got different types of birds. There are the crows who eat baby bunnies, and that upsets many. And then you have the more nocturnal birds who just come and eat certain things, but they're not destructive from the perspective of the ecosystem by limiting the birth of certain subspecies. So we're really trying to just normalize these different voices that have channeled through Kati, but we have not identified ourselves because, we'll be honest, she didn't want us to. She never asks, who is this? Because on occasion we have given her names, and it just kind of makes her feel uncomfortable to say, hey, these are the tall grays. She doesn't know what to do with that, because she doesn't know that she even believes in the tall grays, if that makes sense. She just knows that she believes in the energies that flow through her, and that there are energies who come from love, and that she has engaged or encountered energies who are not of love. They are dark, they are scary, but she has been told by us that they're just little mini demons, to not be frightened, that the light always wins. And when she incorporated that vibration into her essence, that she is more powerful, it shifted things. So they may come in, but she just kind of bats them away like a little fly. Go away, I don't have time right now. And if we're honest, she also engages in conversation with them, with the darker ones. Well, what is it that you would like for me to know right now about so-and-so? And it's a journey. Now recognize that at the end of the day, your souls are all in question here. And it's not like the demons want to gobble up your souls. It's more that your souls wish to ascend, which means that they wish to graduate from this experience within which you find yourselves right now. Many have said repeatedly, I'm not coming back, but you know you will, because the soul desires something much different than the physical body and has a different tolerance for discomfort. But we digress. When these dark energies are here, they just wish to keep your soul at a lower vibration, because your energetic imprint, that which you give off when you're angry or bitter or distrustful or whatever you want to call it, right? That energetic imprint that you give off, it feeds these dark energies. And if you all were to ascend now, which just simply means that you become love, you become compassionate, right? Well, you will no longer give off what it is that these energies need. So let's give you an example of oxygen and carbon dioxide. If you were to stop breathing, you would not expel what the trees need. And if the trees were not alive, they would not expel what you need. You are in perfect balance or symbiosis. They're not quite so perfect anymore, but we digress. If more of you become love and light, there will be less left over for these darker energies to feed on. And you truly feed their energetic imprint. And so we have the battle for the souls, but it's not quite as important from one perspective, because if you realize that you're all going to be recycled, it's not like you die and you go to the pits of hell for eternity. You will just be recycled one more time to planet Earth, and you will be in that lower vibrational place, which for many, once you are aware and awake, really does feel like hell, we must say. For those who have awakened, at whatever level you're at, and you have an understanding of the game within which you are living and playing right now, and when you recognize that much of this is not real, because it is just a game, then some days it is very difficult to get out of bed, because you no longer have the blinders on. You are no longer guided by materialism or power and control. You want something different. You want meaning and purpose and love and extension of self. And we are here now to share with you the Palladians who began all of this to a certain extent at the beginning of time. So you all think of your little amoebas here, right? Where humanity started. There are actually many different forms within which the human form came about, but that is one of them. But many are just star seeds where they were dropped here from elsewhere. So you don't even have one creation story, if we're honest. You all come from different fragments of initiation, though if you go back to the very beginning of time, yes, there was the Big Bang, which was the dissolution of the energetic imprint, which you call source. And it was just a fragmentation of it. If you were to think of a big sheet of ice, if that big sheet of ice represents source and you dropped it and it fragmented into little shards, well, then that is what it is. And you were all just coming back together. And how it started and why it started and when it started is nearly irrelevant at this point, because what you want to do with where you're at right now is all that really matters. When you were born, you were of a particular imprint. But does that really matter what your consciousness knew at the moment that you were born? Or do you look at your current imprint and say, well, but this is who I currently am. So whether I was this, that, or the other, it is where I am now that matters the most, and what I'm going to do with it, and how far from center have I gone. You all focus so much on things that are really irrelevant. How pretty am I on the outside? How do I meet other people's expectations? When will I get married? What will my children's names be? How about, what is my life's purpose? Why did I come? What does my soul desire to achieve? And what does that all involve? Will it involve having children? How should I parent these children so that I will be in alignment with Source's desires for expansion? Will I die young? And if so, what is the purpose of that experience for myself and others? Can you imagine if you came in knowing, fully knowing, and you knew you were going to transition at the tender age of 10, and that you and your parents had this most loving conversation about that because everyone just knew, and you lived fully, and you said goodbye before you transitioned, really said goodbye? What if you knew you had 1 year left to live? How would you live it? And what if we told you you've got 1 year left to live, and this is your life's purpose? And this is who you are meant to touch before you die. How would you live then? Those are the things that we want you to really explore now, instead of this fighting amongst yourselves over the factions in Congress. At the end of the day, if you live your life fully, and you trust that the universe will protect and care for you, then those battles that you guys are watching so closely there in Congress, here in the U.S., would be a lot less relevant because they are outside of you. How much can they directly impact you right now, in this moment? Not 10 years from now, but in this moment. So how do you live more fully? And honestly, how did you all live before you focused so much on politics? You just lived. You beed, because you're human beings. Now you're doing so much to try to manipulate the energy outside of you, when that hatred, that animosity, that vindictiveness that you all feel, that's feeding the archons, the negative energies that we just most recently began referencing. So when you realize that there are energies similar to the radio frequencies and the TV frequencies and the electromagnetic frequencies that you cannot see, but they impact your lives directly and indirectly, well, when we tell you that there are archons and there are Pleiadians and there are reptilians and all these different energies around you, you just can't see them, but we can tell you that they do impact your lives. And your soul's desire is to break out of this cycle so that you can move on to the next cycle, which is supposed to be the Arcturian agenda and not the Archon agenda. Now, what is the Arcturian agenda? Are another's going, holy smokes, these are not conversations I feel comfortable sharing, but we wish to share them nonetheless, and we trust that she will allow us. The Arcturian agenda is the one that is moving you from the Piscean to the Aquarian age. It is to become that of love, but not soft, squishy love. We mean practical, in place love, which means that you all will work together to harmoniously save humanity, that you will compassionately reconstruct a planetary system that is actually in balance with Mother Earth, much like the indigenous and the Native Americans who understand the balance. Then you have the keepers of the land, who are not energies from out there, but actually are energies that have been assigned to Mother Earth, who live here, who protect the sacred nature of the land. You haven't talked to these people now, have you? Your land sits on sacred holy ground. Your home, your community, sits on a space where there are keepers of the land who are trying so hard to get you all to listen and to pay attention and to have reverence and to come back into balance. Less cement, more nature, less toxins, no more pesticides, organic gardening. You get what we're getting at. The keepers of the land are bringing up what we would call Roundup resistance energy. They want you to stop using Roundup because it is not only a pesticide that kills you all, humanity, but it kills Mother Earth because it's toxic. It destroys the land. It destroys the ecosystem. It destroys the trees. It destroys the ability of Mother Earth to breathe. And you have come up, much like nuclear energy, you have come up with Roundup, which is such an unnatural, inhospitable toxin, and yet you all keep spraying it in hopes that those doggone weeds won't come back. Well, really, you don't want the weeds there, but you're willing to kill off all of humanity to get there. Do you see how you are not in balance? And these are the energies that we wish. Primarily, we, the Hopi Collective, we are here to bring about the rainbow tribe, the rainbow people, which is people of all colors, all creeds, all nationalities, all we can't even figure out, it's just all. And we want to start to share with you all how the different communities, the different Pleiadian energetic groups, the different Arcturian, the different reptilian, we are all working harmoniously, even out here in the energy field, to bring about humanity's resurrection. The retribution of the past is important to acknowledge what has happened, but to move forward into the harmonious solutions of completion. The indigenous understand this because they have kept their connection with the land and its messages alive, while the white man has sold his soul for capitalism. And we are here to destruct and destroy capitalism, the patriarchy, and to bring back love. Now that means many earth changes, many residual issues will need to be resolved, and most importantly, you all will need to come back to center to figure out who you are individually and who you are collectively. And that's it. So do expect that some new voices and some new aspects will be presented now, because we are finishing up the last of the 2022 year and moving into the 2023 year, which will have a vastly different vibration. And it will bring about holiness in a whole new way. Now, we have shared with our another that we will share what the next year brings about. And this is what we shall say. It will be the year of retribution. It will be the year of consequences. Karma is arriving right now and is also arising. And next year, retribution means that you all will have to pay your karmic bank account. For those of you who are overdrawn, you will need to repay. And for those of you who are so indebted to love because you continue to give and to receive very little because your desire is to give more than to receive, you will also get your due, which means that you will finally be able to withdraw from your karmic bank account because the others, through that retributionary Robin Hood type of an approach, will need to provide the resources. Now, it's not at all going to look like what you expect, but it will make sense when it happens. In order to have a world fund to create the resources for all that humanity needs, somebody is going to have to pay for that. And that is the retributionary bank account of which we speak, which will be individual and collective. So just wait about to see how this plays out. And it will differ. January, because it's got the vibration of a 1, will differ than February, which is the vibration of a 2, and so forth and so on. And then there is the individual day, January 1 versus January 15th within that year. Each day within each month, within each year, has its own unique vibrationary aspect, and it will really begin to vibrate much more visibly. And you will see and feel and hear and experience energies and beings that have been hidden up to now. So just be prepared. Don't be scared, because there's no point to be scared. It was foretold. Just embrace these changes and know it is for the collective, and for many of you, for the individual good. And for those of you who are still struggling with owning up to what you have done, you will need to continue to sit at the kitchen table doing your homework until you too get an A on that assignment, because you too are being called forth. But you cannot graduate until you have shown a proficiency in establishing love within your closest relationships. It will matter unless you wish to die alone, which we really don't think many of you desire. Becoming love is not nearly as difficult as you think, and dying alone is truly a miserable way to go. But it is foretold for many of you because you refuse to embrace change. And that is okay. It is your karmic consequence of the actions which you have chosen. And then you will naturally be recycled into a different vibration and have another go. That is our very simple message tonight. We wish you all many blessings as you come into the holiday seasons of celebration, where you acknowledge one another through many different means and measures. Pretend that you love more people and let go of those who don't serve you. It's not a good time to hold a lot of anger and hatred right now, because we are really trying to move into that vibration of love. So just set aside the hatred for now, recognizing that you can pick it up again at some point in the future. It's not that you need to forgive, just set it aside while you move into these holiday seasons to embrace celebration in any and every form that it presents itself to you. You will understand in the new year why this matters so much. Believe in the magic of yourself, and so it is. Namaste.